Who are my close friends? The real ones. The ones who stick around when it matters most. Maybe the better question is, would I be close friends with myself? This series is about navigating the real, the hard, and the meaningful parts of friendship.
Well, I want to start today off with a new segment that I'm calling, according to my comments, I'm a demon. And don't worry, they said that about Jesus too. That's what actually got him crucified. And while I am not actually Jesus, I do strive to live my life in a way that loves God and loves people just as he commanded us to. So let's just dive right into some comments, okay? These are on Instagram. We posted a sermon clip on Instagram recently where I was addressing the topic of sin. It's a short clip, definitely out of context, but I like that because it creates conversation. So this person commented and they said, define sin. Now, I left is, you know how it's customary to blur out the person. Look, you commented on a public profile. This is not hidden knowledge. You can go and look at it right now if you want to and follow along on Instagram. But he says define sin. So I think to myself, simple enough, but our Riverbend Youth account beat my personal account to it. I see the next comment from Riverbend Youth that says anything that separates you from God. And I'm like, well, that's nice. What a great definition of sin. Sin is kind of just missing the bullseye, missing the target as we sort of live this life for God. So, I thought that was a great little definition. So he comments back in response to that. Well, 1 John 3:4 says that sin is transgressions against the law, transgressions of the law. So I did what any normal, rational person would do in this moment. I look up that verse in its context, in its scope, in the original Greek, and I break open the commentaries and I'm dissecting this sucker, saying transgressions of the law, this is what we do, right? Like, this is what we do. Now, this is just me. But I looked, and the verse, the word, the law, is actually lawlessness or just sort of wickedness or badness, which kind of makes sense. Like, it's not talking about one law in particular or one set of rules or regulations necessarily. This is just saying that if you're sinning and you're missing the target when it comes to following Jesus, then you will be probably like unlawful or, you know, a little bit wicked or bad. Like you're messing up, right? And that makes sense. So I'm thinking, okay, good. This clears it up for me. I comment back, which law are you referring to exactly? Like, just for clarity for me, like, are you referring to anyone in particular or just general lawlessness, like the verse actually says? And he responds with the Torah. What else? The Torah. So I'm like, oh, that clears it up for me. Like we're just on two separate pages. We definitely believe different things. So I comment back, you know, oh, like, I'm sorry, I didn't know that you practice Judaism, because in Judaism they follow the 613 laws of the Torah, which is the Old Testament, which Jesus came to fulfill. And so I'm like, you know, I follow the law of Christ, which is outlined in Galatians 6:2, 1 Corinthians 9:21. You know, not the 613 laws of the Torah, but, you know, I'm like, blessings to you either way, rub-a-dub-dub, thanks for the grub. And he comments back and he says, oh, what a hilarious misunderstanding. It's all good, my brother. Thank you. Go and be with God. All is well, right? No, he doesn't say that at all. He starts arguing with me and he starts calling me a false teacher, a demon, a false shepherd, and trying to antagonize me on other videos as well. And he's commenting on other clips and stuff. He's like, this guy sucks. And like, I'm like, brother, what the stigma? And like, I'll get more in that in a second, but right now, we're going to get into scriptures. I hope you've got your Bibles, right? We're going to take it to God. Just go in there to Acts, the book of Acts. It's right after the Gospels if you're in the New Testament, and it's Matthew, Mark, Luke, John, bang, Acts. Okay? It's called Acts. It was written by this guy named Luke, who also wrote the Gospel of, you guessed it, Luke. And Acts and Luke make up together about 1/4 of the New Testament. Acts and Luke, with Luke as the author, is actually the most volume of writing in the New Testament was written by this one single guy. Luke was a physician. He paid attention to detail. He was also a friend of the New Testament author Paul, if you're familiar with the Apostle Paul, who wrote the most number of books in the New Testament. So combining him with Luke, you've got 50% of the New Testament. So these two guys, they were buddies. They wrote most of the words in your biblical New Testament that holds up to this day, 2,000 years later. These guys, they were on a mission to show that Jesus' message was both historically accurate and universally meant for all people, and it holds up to this day. These were guys who were living after Jesus walked on this planet, lived the perfect life, died claiming to be God, then proving it when he walked out of the ground 3 days later, saying, this is your ticket to forgiveness. I really am who I say I am. If you believe in me, you can live and establish God's kingdom here on earth as it is in heaven, and we can do this thing for eternity. And Luke and Paul were living after this in this wave of people who are saying, I want to live my life in Jesus the Christ. I want to be a Christian and live my life for him in the way that he taught. And so there are all these people like sharing everything they had, building these things called churches, ecclesia, gatherings, assemblies of people, living this life together in service to one another. And he wants to write down their actions or their acts of the apostles, which means sent ones. If you look in the Greek, it's apostolos, which means these are ones who are sent, or they are messengers. They're going out to tell people the gospel, the good news about Jesus. It's not like a disciple, which means it's a learner or a student. Like if you're being discipled, like Jesus had 12 disciples, right? And they were learning from Jesus, gleaning from his teachings. But an apostle is someone who now takes that and they go share it with others. So that's why we say the apostle Paul. Luke was an apostle because they're going to tell people, okay? So now these apostles, like I said, they were seeing this and they wanted to tell everyone. So they were doing that. They were kind of on tour, like a band or something, like Tate McRae out there, just going blah, 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 city to city, just spreading love, you know, nasty. In Acts 15, we're looking at chapter 15, starting in verse 36. So here's these two guys. Sometime later, Paul said to his friend Barnabas, we'll call him Barney. There they are, they're chilling. Paul and Barnabas, let's go back and visit the believers in the towns where we've preached the word of the Lord and see how they're doing. We done preached the word of God, all these places. Let's go back, check in on them, right? Barnabas wanted to take John, also known as Mark. Don't let it get confused. And he was also called Mark. Yeah, he wanted to take him with him. But Paul, he didn't think it was wise to take this guy because, frankly, he had not been a good friend in the past. He had kind of deserted them. You remember the stuff that went down in Pamphylia? Yeah, we don't talk about it. So he kind of deserted them, left them high and dry, didn't continue with them in the work. So Paul is like, look, Barney, I don't want to take this guy. He's not been a great friend in the past. We're moving on. And I kind of like this because not everyone in the Bible is perfect. Not everyone in the Bible is a hero, but the Bible still includes these things with tension and almost with disagreements to show us that these people were people living real lives with real problems just like us today. So Barnabas still wanted to bring this guy. They had this disagreement. And in fact, we read on, they had such a sharp disagreement that they, being Paul and Barnabas, they parted ways. They're like, I guess we're not being friends anymore. I guess we're not doing this anymore. Like you believe in this so much, and we've seen this, especially today and like recently in modern culture where it's very politicized, and there's a lot of different things out there about belief, politics. I mean, we can get into a lot of the sensitive subjects, and it's like, if you believe that, I can't be friends with you. I can't be friends with a person who believes that. I can't be friends with a person who's friends with her. I can't be friends with a person who does those things. Sorry, bro. And that's what was going on here. So it happened then, it's happening today. It might look different, but it's the same kind of thing. So Barnabas took John Mark, we read on, sailed for Cyprus, and then Paul chose another guy named Silas. I mean, who wouldn't want to be friends with that guy, bro? Look at him. I mean, come on, what a beard. And they left. I got a new friend. He's way better than you. Barnabas. What I want to get from this is that if you can make peace with someone, with a friend, if you can, agree to disagree and friendship and your relationship continues, and like, well, that's great. You can try. But if we can't, and sometimes we need to go our separate ways, listen, that's okay. I wonder if some of us have experienced something like this. Like maybe you had this friend in middle school or something, and then in high school things started to change. Like they started listening to different music, or I don't know, just it's not the same person anymore. Maybe you've changed. Maybe, like I said earlier, they've taken some political stance or something and you disagree with it and you're like, man, I can't associate with them anymore. Maybe they started dating someone. You see this every once in a while where they get this boyfriend or this girlfriend or something and then they change and it's like, bro, like, you don't want to hang out anymore. It's weird. Maybe they just changed schools and it's like, they didn't do anything wrong. You didn't do anything wrong. Your proximity just changed. You're not different people. You just got different proximity. And you kind of just drift apart because you're not seeing each other as often as you did. Some things I want to draw out of this text is that though, Paul and Barney disagreed, no statement indicates that they ended up disliking each other. There was no animosity, no bad blood. It's like, we can peaceably agree to disagree. I don't hate you. I'm not going to talk trash about you behind your back. In fact, in later books that Paul wrote, 1 Corinthians, Colossians, Philemon, and 2 Timothy, Paul wrote positively about both Barnabas and John Mark. He's like, these guys, we're not friends anymore, but they're great people. They're doing good things. And we disagree on some stuff, but they're good. God bless them. I support them. Yeah. In fact, their gospel or their decision to go separate ways resulted in the greater expansion of the gospel than would have been accomplished had they remained together, which is that song we sang earlier. You take what the enemy meant for evil, a breakup, a disagreement, political tension, friendship disintegrating. I mean, we've seen this. The enemy can use that for such evil. But God can use it for good. And how he did it through these guys was like this. In verse 40, commended by the believers to the grace of the Lord, he went through Syria and Cilicia, strengthening the churches. These guys, they went their separate ways. But instead of there just being two of them, now there was four doing double in two places instead of just one. They all went to do their thing, how God created them to do it. They weren't together anymore, but God used it for good. So let's revisit our friend back on Instagram, okay? Remember this guy? Let's look back at the comments and see where it went. So juicy. I said something like this. Well, here it is. We believe different things, and that's fine. I'm telling him that I want to learn how to get better. I'm trying to be better every single day, and I say blessings to you in your ministry, which, by the way, this is me being nice. I went to his page. His page is public. It is full of misogyny and murder and mockery of women and children and people who believe certain things. I mean, it is so disrespectful, discouraging, demoralizing, and destructive. That's this dude's page, but I give him the benefit of the doubt because I'm like, he loves God. He's got a lot of Bible verses and pictures of the Bible and pictures of scripture and stuff in his bio and stuff. And I was like, we just go about it a different way, but I'm giving him this, okay? I also go on to say something like this, like we're different parts of the same body, and you can reach people I can't. I would like to hope that I can reach people you can't for the greater expansion of the gospel in whatever context we're in. Like this is me trying to end things peaceably, and this is just me being me. If you look at my comments, they're all like this. I stand on that. The problem is it was not reciprocated. This is what I get in return from the guy. He's like, well, I pray the Spirit finds you and opens your eyes to the truth, because only he knows the truth, right? Anyways, enjoy the Feast of Trumpets. I had to look up what that meant. Apparently, it's like when Jesus comes back and, everyone's judged and it's supposed to be really bad. I'm like, well, thanks, man. We left it there. Have fun. Yeah, love you. Love you. You can't win sometimes, and you just got to walk away. You got to walk away peaceably. And that's what I did. He continues to comment on other things, by the way. I just let it go. Public profile, fun stuff. I don't know where you're at right now with your friends. I think looking across this room, there's probably a lot of different dynamics with your friends, where your friends are at right now with you. There might be tension. You might be like Paul, and you're saying, man, there's a person that I need to step away from at this time, like with John Mark or something. It's like, it's just not good for me to be in association with this person right now. You might be like John Mark, and you say like, look, I didn't have a choice. They didn't want to be friends with me anymore. Now I'm just left on the outside, and I don't know why. I don't even know what I did wrong. They're treating me different. It's weird. I'm the one who got ditched. You might only have perfect friends and you have no problems at all. I don't know. Maybe that's possible. You might say, Ren, I have no friends at all. Trying to make them. I don't know. But even if that's true, I think you do. You have people who love you. You have relationships. There's people in your life. And these things will change through life. It happens. There are friends that are great people that I've had that I'm no longer friends with for no particular reason whatsoever, other than just, we're just not. And that's okay. It's weird, but it's okay. There's only margin in our lives for a certain number of people. I think scientifically, we're only capable of maintaining up to 12 close relationships maximally. The important thing that as friendships and relationships change, they ebb and flow, people come and go, is that this one thing doesn't change. Your identity in Jesus, your mission to love him and to love others, no matter what, even if it is not reciprocated. And again, like I don't know where you're at this morning, but whether you're in it now, it's tension with friendships and relationships, or whether you will be one day, because you will. I leave you with this. The Apostle Paul wrote another letter to a friend named Peter. It says this, we read it earlier. Finally, all of you should be of one mind, sympathize with each other, love each other as brothers and sisters, be tenderhearted, keep a humble attitude. Don't repay evil for evil. Don't retaliate with insults when people insult you. Instead, pay them back with a blessing. This is unnatural. This is supernatural. This is Jesus in you. It's challenging, but you can be friendly even if you stop being friends.